Batteries fully charged. Launch ready for WWE Aftershock in 3, 2, 1. World Wrestling Entertainment Discussion is live. Cue host Owen Finch.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Aftershock corner, not the Aftershock corner, WWE Aftershock. I'm Owen the Birdman Finch, and I'm here with
Chris.
I don't know why I did introductions, because we have an intro, but sorry, what happened is right when the countdown happened, this is a bit of giving you guys behind the scenes. I was in mid-eat of an apple, so I didn't expect it. Even though I got the countdown, I was in it was like right when the one hit, I took a freaking bite of my apple. That was not smart. So I was an idiot for that. But yeah, this is the second episode, I believe, of WWE Aftershock. I always thought it was the third, but I forgot the first video we did talking about everything under the Triple H WWE regime was a state of the address. So this is the second ever episode. And I was originally going to say, not a lot really has gone down because usually it's the holidays and stuff like that. If we had done this show last week, we would have had nearly no news at all to break down. But oh my gosh, did that week freaking change?
It's in a heartbeat.
Yeah, let's talk about it. We're going to start by talking about this. We're going to talk about Vince McMahon's officially unretired now. Pretty much what happened is... I'm just going to kind of start talking about it. It was reported, was it right before Christmas or a little after Christmas that Vince was thinking about making a comeback to...
It was right after Christmas. I think it was the 26th or 27th.
The 26th isn't a good day for wrestling, is it? It's like Brody Lee died on the 26th, and then we found out about that. It's what's going to happen next year? Is wrestling going to go into the ocean in the next December 26th? The hell's going on here? December 26th.
Hell's gonna freeze over.
Yeah. Well, hell kind of froze over with that already, I think. But then we didn't really hear anything about it for a few weeks. I thought it was just, Vince being Vince. He was kind of bored because we've talked about it. What is Vince going to do, being retired and everything like that? Because all he's done is basically wrestling and worked and everything. And then that changed this week. It was reported this week that Vince was thinking about coming back, at least to the head of being the board of directors, because he's thinking about selling the company and he wants to be in charge of a major sale. And he basically forced his way in, essentially. He essentially, because he still owned a good part of the shares of WWE. He didn't really give that up or anything like that. But he pretty much said that he wasn't going to negotiate any TV sales or anything like that unless he was brought back in as the head of board of directors. And I think the next day he was brought in as head of board of directors. He brought back George Barrios and Michelle Wilson. And I forget their names. I'll just look it up real quick, but you can tell me the names. But 3 people were let go because of that. So basically they could come in and replace them. And then, I was obviously all stressed out and worried that day because obviously Vince being back in the picture. And we originally thought that it meant that everything that we've seen for WWE, all the progress they made since Vince has retired, would go away. Well, that's not the case. Pretty much, there's a legal thing. I'll pull it up when I see it, where Vince pretty much can't make any changes to the screen on the product. Nick Khan, Stephanie McMahon, and Triple H are still going to do their thing. Nothing on screen will have any effect on it. And this is basically being done so Vince can oversee the sale of the WWE, which is actually going to happen. It's always been rumored, but we never thought the WWE would get sold, but it's going to get sold.
There's so many companies that want it.
A few companies that have been rumored to get it is Disney, because Disney likes to have everything the Marvel stuff, and the Star Wars, that's another franchise that they have. And I think they bought something else that's pretty big. And WWE would make sense since it's a PG product. It caters to the children and stuff like that. So that would be cool. NBC, which is the one that makes the most sense, considering the fact that you know, um, they own Peacock and WWE's on Peacock through the WWE network in America. So it makes sense if they went to NBC. Fox, since WWE's on Fox. Fox is a big sports-oriented company and everything. They have all the big sports things like football and the World Cup and stuff. I meant to say all the big sports things. I was thinking I was going to say basketball and stuff, but I forgot that's not Fox. Again, I'm not a sports guy, but football is the biggest one that they have. But I believe they do like UFC events on occasions on like Fox, because I remember they promote that sometimes. And then a rumor was freaking Saudi Arabia, and that obviously kind of makes sense. It's WWE and Saudi Arabia. Really close and everything like that through businesses. I'm just saying, I know I'm giving the news and then we'll give up. And if that freaking happens, this show is going to cease to exist. I'm not watching WWE ever again if Saudi Arabia freaking buys.
Out of all the companies, yeah, they might have the most money per se.
Yeah.
But I give that like a 0% chance that they do that.
Yeah. Especially considering the fact too that like they freaking on some of their shows, they tried to like get Yokozuna to wrestle on that show. And it was like back in 2018. And if you don't know who Yokozuna is, look him up, then you'll see why that's funny.
Yeah, he's been dead for like 23 years now.
Yeah.
At that time, he'd been dead for 18 years. And that's the one to dig up his corpse.
And then I think another company I think there's other companies that rumored. There's been some trolls that saying Tony Khan could buy it, which if that happens, WWE is going to basically be only on like once a month and stuff, and all the titles are just going to be on Dynamite and everything like that, and we don't need that. Tony Khan's father.
That's another one that's like not. That's not happening.
Not
happening at all.
I did say trolls, so and then there was a troll that said Donald Trump can buy it, which considering the fact that Vince was basically forced out because of his things. Donald Trump's definitely not buying it because there's so many accusations about Trump right now. Like you can't even honestly. You could honestly like.
I bet they're running for president again too.
Yeah,
there's just no room. There's nothing.
And then I think one kind of person. I mean, that's just the one I'm saying is The Rock could obviously buy it because he bought the XFL and everything like that, but. With The Rock, that's a lot of time The Rock would have to. The Rock doesn't even have to be involved in it, really. Like he could just he could just be like the financial back or whatever, like Billy Corgan was supposed to be for the NWA, and he never really shows up or anything like that. But I don't think that's a very likely option. But yeah, it's a lot of stuff. Let's why don't you give your thoughts on all this stuff? Like basically, that was all in a week, by the way, too. Like. Well, we were only in like the beginning of 2023, and this freaking news story came out like the first week of 2023, pretty much. So, what do you think of all this stuff?
It's crazy. I didn't think Vince was coming back, but the second I heard he was coming back, I was like, okay, this is bad. This is real bad. Because I'm like, this is like he's gonna try to come back and take over creative again. That was my initial reaction. And the more I started reading it, in the SEC filing, he literally cannot be on that side of the business. So he's only in I think it was marketing and in sales, like the sale of the company and whatnot. Other than that, he has zero fucking control over what goes on the opposite side. So no creative. No talent hiring and firing. None of that stuff. He has zero control over that. That is all done by Stephanie and Nick Khan and Triple H. Those are the three people who are in charge right now, and they will continuously be in charge with no interruption from Vince, which goes against everything. Because out of the two kids, he likes Stephanie more. Let's face it, he likes Stephanie way more than Shane. Way more than Shane. And let's face it too. His son-in-law, Paul Levesque, Triple H, he said it like 1,000 times. It's like his other son. He loves him like a son. He would never come back into the company and fuck over his daughter and his son-in-law and his close and their close family friend and Nick Khan. They would not do that. That is absolutely not happening whatsoever. It's just it's all crazy though. It's all crazy shit that is happening right now. It's looks like it's going to be sold for the next few months. Personally, I want Disney to buy them. That's just my personal opinion. I think that would be awesome because I'm a huge Disney mark. So, like, if they have a WWE exhibit at Disney World or Disneyland, I'm fucking going.
We need a Disney ride of the Titus World slide. That's a Disney we need that. We need that just so we can. I want Disney to buy them just so we can get the Titus World slide. It's like a big slide.
Fantastic.
It's a big slide that you have to go down like head first or something like that too. Like you have to go down head first. You can't go down any other way.
The Titus World slide.
That needs to happen. Like months ago, but right when that happened, John made like a thing of like what he would have if WWE had an amusement park, and that was like the big ride he wanted was the Titus World slide. So, and I think Titus O'Neil needs to go down that slide and fuck that up too. By the way, that'd be awesome.
Oh yeah, he needs to like fall off of it or something.
Well, not fall off the slide because I'm thinking that's gonna get a little.
Not like I wouldn't make it like a humongous slide. Because if you did, that'd be fucking. Ooh, there he goes.
Titus O'Neil. There goes the ambassador. Titus O'Neil.
He's dead.
I've been asked to just read something. I just found something online real quick. It says here that the main reason Vince was brought back was not because many people would have tried to buy WWE. Vince wasn't part of the sale, despite what he allegedly did behind closed doors. Vince also legit wanted the money from said sale, which obviously makes sense because obviously Vince probably wouldn't get as much money.
He wouldn't get any.
So he built this company for like 40 years. It makes sense that he'd want the money for that. And then it says, sounds to me that he's not back in any creative capacity. They said there is a chance Tony Khan has the money and could buy it, by the way. Only reason I say that is because his dad, I believe that's Shanghai, whatever his name is, dad, and Tony Khan, even by himself, have the money that they could do it. The only problem is that there isn't the first bidder, I'm sure. And even if he was, doubt Nick, Hunter, and Steph would give them the company. Same with Vince, George, and Michelle. They will drop dead before it goes to the Khan family. I should just say it's James that sent me that. There's no way I can even. I was going to try to hide the fact that it was a wrestling article, but you could just tell that's James's word.
That was kind of the fucking like. I don't know why you said you got it online. I'm texting you this because I'm like trying to give you context.
I was trying to like hide the fact that it was
not
you.
online. Just say the producer man wants me to read something. There you go. Everybody knows I'm producer man. Just say that.
But then when I read it, I realized everyone's gonna know this is James that said this. So
you're making me sound like what the fuck? No, it's not even a source. It was just it was just from what I read online. There you go. That was just the long and short of it. I just wanted to put that context out there. Sorry, I'll try to make it less obvious. Continue.
Yeah, there you go. So this is big news. It'll be interesting to see what happens in like 6 months. I'm interested. There you go. So let's talk about now what's been going on screen for the WWE. Because a lot's been going on. Like, obviously, it hasn't been as much since the past few times we talked about it. One, because we've done a show fairly recently, so not as much to talk about. But also, like, they were in like the holiday territory, so usually wrestling on screen is kind of slow because there's always that lull between like TLC or whatever, like December and like right before the Rumble. Usually there's more of one now because there was no pay-per-view between Survivor Series and the Rumble. Or anything like that. So I feel like though it was definitely better this time around. Like usually if Vince was running creative right now and stuff like that, like you even feel the low. At least Triple H like tried to like, make TV at least somewhat matter while it was going on. He did produce some interesting storylines and things like that. So I'm happy about that. I know on the format I have that we're going to talk about the NXT stuff first, but I'm changing it up real quick. Like I said, you just go with it. So let's talk about the freaking Bloodline versus Kevin Owens first. So let's be real. That's more interesting to talk about right now. So last we talked, Sami Zayn is now like not he basically has been fully embraced by the Bloodline. He's not a full-on member yet. But he had just turned on Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens basically said that he was done with Sami Zayn and stuff like that. Well, some more development has happened with that recently. So, I believe it was 2 weeks before the 30th. Kevin Owens had still been a problem for the Bloodline, and Roman Reigns realized that they have to fix the Kevin Owens problem. So he had Adam Pearce come into his lock. Well, I don't even think would even call Roman Reigns' lock, because it's obviously not even a locker room. It's like a freaking lounge or whatever like that.
Yeah, it's like a lounge area.
Yeah.
His own locker room.
Yeah. And he wanted a tag match made where it was going to be Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens at a mystery partner. And when they came out later on in the night of the segment, the mystery partner ended up being revealed to be John Cena. He came out and did like a big surprise and said that he was doing this because he hadn't had a match at all in 2022 and wanted to take that chance. And it was really cool, a cool full circle moment because that was Kevin Owens' like first like major feud he had on the main roster and everything was against John Cena. So it was cool that they were going to team up and everything like that. Especially too, because if you remember back at that time too, Sami Zayn's first match on the main, which I kind of wish they would have talked about this a little bit more than they did. Sami Zayn's first match on the main roster was when he wrestled John Cena and got that injury that you can make out.
Yep.
Kind of messed him up a little bit.
When he fucking did his entrance and he threw his arms up in the air and fucking dislocated his shoulder.
That was actually your first wrestling show that you did on this channel. Actually, was reviewing the Raw where that match happened. So
I forgot about that. Yeah.
So it was really, there was a lot of history with that tag match, and they did a really good job building to it. They had the Bloodline minus Roman go to Raw and basically take everybody out on Raw because Kevin Owens had been invading Roman Reigns' show, and they ended up succeeding, but then the Usos failed in the end when they lost that tag match to KO and Seth Rollins. And then Sami Zayn did like a passionate promo. I think like the SmackDown the week before it, where he basically said that he put his name on the fact that that they were gonna win that tag match, and they had the match and everything like that. And I thought John Cena, for someone that hadn't been in the ring in a while, had looked really good. Obviously we read the reports. I mean, even if you don't even need to read the reports, he was obviously heavily protected because he didn't really do. He did a lot in the match, but obviously he didn't take any of the heat. The most he could probably took damage in the match was probably when he got thrown into the barricade on the outside, I believe, by like Roman or something like that. But yeah, it was really good stuff. Again, it was a full circle moment. Luckily, SmackDown was in Florida that week because I don't think this match. He even said at the promo after the match and everything that wouldn't have even happened. Like he would have missed a year without having a match, which is crazy. And obviously, Kevin Owens and John Cena won, but I honestly didn't expect it to go that way. I thought it could have gone either way, but I kind of like that it went to the Kevin Owens and John Cena route because while I like the Bloodline and everything like that, Kevin Owens needed to get a fucking win on the Bloodline at some point. I know he's gotten the win on like the Usos or something, but he needed to get like a big win like that, like on the Bloodline, where he got the pin and finally
he needed a win.
Yeah. Because I know he's beating like the Usos and stuff and like Jey Uso, but he needed like a big win to like get him in conversation for like that WWE Undisputed Universal Championship. And it led to the
shit.
And then the Bloodline ended up invading Raw and taking out Kevin Owens there. And I remember texting you. I was like, holy shit, I'm fucking scared for Sami Zayn because he took the freaking pinfall in that tag match. And Roman Reigns was not going to be happy about that because they hyped it up too that like it's the first time that Roman Reigns had been on like the receiving end of a freaking loss since like the Royal Rumble. But like even that really wasn't a loss because he fucking stood tall at the end and everything like that. So this is like the first time where like something backfired. And Sami Zayn even said that he put like his name on that freaking win. Like, I was freaking scared, man. Like I was terrified. So I'm gonna go over my feelings on SmackDown because this is the Bloodline invaded. I can't really say invaded SmackDown because that's their show, but like they like cut off the commentary team and everything like that. And then they brought out the Tribal Chief, and I was freaking getting scared. I'm like, oh no! I was like, Sammy, you should have freaking stayed home, man. And then Roman Reigns started out all happy. He was pretty chill at first, and I'm like, okay, maybe this isn't going to be that bad. He had Sami Zayn talk, and I'm like, oh no, he's having Sami Zayn talk. He never does that. And then all of a sudden, I got freaking scared. Roman Reigns was freaking lashing out on Sami Zayn, saying that, like, are you trying to be the Tribal Chief? You went and called your shot, and you freaking lost. And Roman Reigns said, I didn't lose. You lost. It was like, oh my gosh, I was so fucking scared. Like, I thought Sami was getting fucking murdered that day. Like, I was fucking scared, man.
You should have been murdered.
It's fucking Roman Reigns' fault, too. He fucking organized that freaking tag match, and he got laid out with the freaking AA anyways. Like, I've seen him take fucking way worse than that as the freaking Tribal Chief. So, he's more to blame than Sami. He put Sami Zayn into position to freaking fail, but...
in a position to win.
But luckily, in a way, Kevin Owens freaking saved Sami Zayn if you think about it. Because had he not come out, I think Sami Zayn would have been, like I said, he would have been I think we would have been having a memorial right now for freaking Sami Zayn. And he got Roman. He got Roman to agree to a WWE Undisputed Universal Championship match at the Royal Rumble. And this is going to be the trilogy because they've had 3 matches at the Royal Rumble. 2017, 2021, and this year now. So that'll be cool.
But they're going for the G soon.
Huh?
They're going for the Forlogy.
Yeah. And yeah, basically Roman Reigns only agreed with to finally get rid of Kevin Owens. And I think this is the first time you've seen someone mentally get into the head of the Tribal Chief since they've since he's been the Tribal Chief. The only other one that I think that came like close was maybe like Logan Paul, but I really don't think Logan Paul got into this at all that much. He was kind of just like more annoyed with him. Like he's in his head, and there's more.
He's in his phone.
There was more scariness that ended up happening. So like Sami Zayn wasn't even allowed to go into the Bloodline Lounge last week until like the end. Paul Heyman's actually kind of getting this because I remember. On SmackDown, it was the week right before the Cena match. He had mentioned something to Sami about like how he gets more cheer than Roman, and then Sami brought it up later when they were doing their backstage prep, but didn't mention that Paul Heyman said that. So it's like, does Paul Heyman even like Sami Zayn? Like, what are you doing, Paul? Like, and then the scariness though ended because then Roman Reigns requested that Paul Heyman get Sami Zayn. I like, by the way, too, that I like Paul Heyman. He's smart. He doesn't just go out. He doesn't leave the locker room to get them. He freaking just has someone call. He just uses his phone to call him and stuff like that. That's hilarious for some reason.
Think smarter, not harder.
Yeah. And Sami Zayn comes in and, Sami Zayn apologized to Roman and said that he wouldn't do that again. And this is where more scariness happened. Roman Reigns says, that's a good apology, but I don't accept it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, no, don't put Sami Zayn in this. And then Roman said, because you don't need to apologize. No, he didn't even say that at first. He said, as Tribal Chief, I hold myself to a high standard. And when he said that, I thought like Sami was gonna have to prove himself. But then Roman Reigns, this is why he's a good Tribal Chief. He admits when he's wrong because he was wrong. He admitted that he shouldn't have lashed out at Sami like that. He let Kevin Owens get in his head, and he blamed Kevin Owens for this. And Sami Zayn's got a chance to make up for it because he's facing Kevin Owens on SmackDown
oh boy,
this week. And that might be more scariness that happens there, though, because I'm so scared because the commentators have been saying that it's a must-win for Sami. It really is a must-win for Sami. If he does not win this match, oh my gosh, I'm fucking scared.
Oh boy.
Yeah, this storyline's so good. I think what makes it so good is like everybody just plays the part so well in the storyline now. Like whoever would have we've talked about it I think more in the last video, but it's like whoever. Thank God Triple H came in when he did because this storyline, honestly, I don't think you can say about Vince started this. This storyline would not have been this good if Vince this would have been abandoned by now. It had Vince.
No, it wouldn't have been abandoned. It wouldn't have been. It would have been done by SummerSlam.
Yeah. This is fucking awesome. Like, I'm so fucking scared. I'm just so scared. Like, what do you think of this though? Like, because it's really good. This is probably the best story in wrestling right now.
Fantastic. Like, I know what we're getting from this, and it's just gonna make it so much better.
Yeah. I really want that backup plan though. I know what we're getting, but what I still want is if The Rock can't be in the main event of WrestleMania, I still want Sammy to be in the Rumble and win the Royal Rumble. And I mean, they could do that idea because it was rumored that Roman Reigns, I mean, it's probably been debunked by now, was supposed to have 2 matches at Mania where Sammy still wins the Rumble. And Roman, if The Rock, because The Rock, I don't think, even because if that does happen, The Rock doesn't necessarily need to win the Rumble to face Roman. He can just probably come out and say, I'm facing Roman.
Oh, yeah.
But then they could do a twist where, after the Roman's, night 1 of Mania has beaten The Rock, Sammy could come out and say that he's challenging right after, the next night. They do the thing at Wrestle Kingdom last year where, the IWGP title got defended twice. One night, won the other night. So I think Sami Zayn's the guy to dethrone Roman at the moment. I mean, it's probably be the tag title out, which I'd be fine with that too. But just Sami seems like the best option to me at the moment. To dethrone Roman. But
give me that tag title route.
Yeah, I love this storyline so much. And then there's another storyline on SmackDown that's going on. More furthering of the Bray Wyatt, Uncle Howdy storyline. And then the biggest furthering is we finally found out that Uncle Howdy and Bray Wyatt are meant to be 2 different people because on SmackDown that same day where Cena announced he was having a match, that SmackDown was really noteworthy, by the way.
Extremely.
Bray Wyatt was in the win with LA. Now he was getting beat down. And Uncle Howdy came out, and Uncle Howdy, he just came out. He didn't really do anything at first. And then this week, the most recent, not the most recent SmackDown, but last week, the 30th, he came out and again, and he laid out Bray Wyatt with the sister Abigail. And obviously, the speculation about who Uncle Howdy is. Some people have speculated that it's Vincent, but I think the most obvious one is probably Bo Dallas, which obviously makes sense with Bo and Bray's history and everything like that. I think we're going to find that out because Bray Wyatt's having his first match at Royal Rumble 2023, at least on TV and stuff anyways. It's going to be Bray Wyatt versus LA Knight in a pitch black match, which is going to be sponsored by Mountain Dew. I'm interested to see what that match is going to be. I really don't know. We don't even know the rules really yet.
It makes it more interesting.
Yeah. And obviously, I'm happy that they kept Bray Wyatt for the win all this time. He just did promos and everything like that, which is what Bray Wyatt shouldn't be wrestling all the time. He honestly should only be wrestling at big events. So I'm really looking forward to see how this. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to see how this Bray Wyatt Uncle Howdy thing works itself out and everything like that. So, what do you think about this stuff?
It's fantastic. I keep seeing people complain online about it, saying "Oh, this is LA Knight's buried. Bray Wyatt sucks," and you'll never guess who's saying it. Everyone, all these AEW marks keep saying it.
Yeah.
The fanboys who have nothing else better to do with their lives than just obsessively follow WWE, even though they say they hate it. But if this exact storyline was in AEW, they would be fucking losing their mind. Fucking guaranteed.
I mean, my take on it is one, Bray Wyatt's the money anyway, so that's the one that should be pushed. And and LA Knight's also in his freaking 40s. He doesn't really need to be. It's not like this young star that everyone says that he is.
He's like 40 years old. Okay, like he is what he is at this point. But like he's talented. But like it's the perfect person to have feud with Bray first because he can fucking talk.
Right. By the way, too, there's no because of what happened on SmackDown, like everyone's saying this, there's a chance LA Knight could beat Bray Wyatt too because of Uncle Howdy. So honestly,
yeah.
I mean, I remember we talked about this when we did the State of the WWE. This explains why they put LA Knight as a heel, because they were putting back Bray Wyatt probably. I don't know if they had the idea that he was going to feud with LA Knight necessarily. So I'm pretty sure like LA Knight turned before Bray Wyatt came back, but they definitely needed a top heel because I think I think on that same SmackDown he turned heel like the same week Bray Wyatt came back. They needed a heel for Bray Wyatt to feud with. And all the top heels were like Walter and all that type of stuff, so they couldn't really have them they couldn't really have them go up against like Bray Wyatt because that would kind of hurt their credibility and stuff like that. So and like I said, you need someone that can talk, and LA Knight can easily talk and everything like that. I mean, obviously, we're going to talk about it now too because it goes into the Raw Women's Championship picture. Because Alexa Bliss, it looked like is going to be involved in the storyline somehow. We thought it was Bray Wyatt that was, being the one that was trying to trigger something into Alexa Bliss, but it might be Uncle Howdy, considering the fact that it's always Uncle Howdy's symbol that shows up and everything like that. And now we know Uncle Howdy and Bray Wyatt are two different people. But Alexa Bliss recently just became like the #1 contender to the Raw Women's title. And Alexa Bliss and Bianca Belair had their match on Raw last week. You're probably seeing this, by the way, after tonight's Raw because, things take time to edit and upload and stuff. So it's just how it is.
Unacceptable.
But Alexa Bliss saw like Uncle Howdy's mask, someone wearing it in the crowd and stuff like that. Very Wyatt family, violent by design type stuff going on right there. And she ended up just lashing out on Bianca Belair and the referees and everything like that, and laying her out under the steps and everything like that. And obviously we're going to get a rematch from that. But, at the Rumble, like Alexa Bliss and we know Alexa Bliss is a part of the storyline somehow. We just don't know how. So I'm really interested in that part of it. I like the fact that it carries over to both shows, but, obviously it's two different storylines going on. So it's pretty cool. I mean, the only thing that like doesn't make sense about the storyline is Alexa Bliss is making mention that like Bray Wyatt abandoned her when she was the one that turned on him like at WrestleMania 37. Like, what are you talking about? So I don't even know what's going on.
She was abandoned.
Yeah, I guess because Bray Wyatt was fired, that makes it an abandonment. Like, how could Bray Wyatt like show like he wasn't like if anyone was abandoned, it was freaking Bray Wyatt. He got fired for no fucking reason. So
yeah.
But anyhow, what do you think of the Alexa Bliss part of the storyline? Since that's a different
It's
thing.
fascinating.
Yeah.
It's the fascinating part. I don't know what role she's going to play. I wonder if she'll go back to the Fiendess or whatever she was before. Seems like she's going back in that direction. Which I was probably one of the very few people that actually like that character. But yeah, it's good. It's good, though. I like it.
I think I actually liked the gimmick up until that weird shit happened like once like post her being a split from Bray Wyatt. Especially too, that really didn't make sense for her to do the gimmick anymore once Bray Wyatt was fired and stuff like that. Like that kind of ruined it too. So
yeah.
But let's talk about other stuff going on. They furthered some more of the Mysterio family drama. Basically, Dominic Mysterio tried to go over his grandparents' house with Rhea Ripley for Christmas. It was like Christmas Eve this happened. And I guess, the grandparents really we didn't know about the drama that was going on between Ray and Dominic. And I think Ray didn't have the heart to tell them at the time and stuff like that. And I don't know if Dominic's grandparents end up watching the product and stuff. So it's really tough to say. But yeah, Dominic tried to go over his grandparents' house for not dinner, but like for Christmas, but probably like a Christmas dinner type thing. And and his parents, Rey Mysterio and Rey Mysterio's wife, Dominic's mom, basically said, no, you're not coming over. We're not having this happen again. So they kind of stepped outside. When Ray said, let's step outside, I thought that meant like they was going to fight Dominic and all that. Because usually when
step outside, and I'll beat the shit out of you, kid.
Yeah, but no. They just went in and had like a conversation. The police were called. I don't know who called. They showed up pretty damn quick, by the way.
They showed up within like a half a second.
Yeah. Like, who called the call? Like, did they just... I don't know how that happened.
Did they fucking time travel?
Yeah.
And they were there within like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
They were like, they were arguing for like a second, and then I think it was like Dominic's mom was like, I'm gonna call the cops. The cops are like there.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute. Did she just call? She said she was just gonna call the cops. Did she have like a bat signal? A bat signal or something?
The cops have like some type of telekinesis powers or whatever, or like super sensitive hearing or whatever like that. Like,
I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, they were there within like a half.
Is the house fucking bugged? Like,
I was like, wow, that was like, wow, the cops got there extremely fast.
Yeah. And then Rey Mysterio's wife, I forget her name, but she went to slap Dominic, which is like, she's about to hit her son. I like how Ray's wife has no problem hitting Dominic, but Ray won't, so that's kind of funny. And then Rhea blocked it, and then she ended up slapping Rhea Ripley. And then Dominic got arrested, which they didn't think was fair, obviously, because he really wasn't causing any trouble and all that type of stuff, which you can make an argument for that, but I obviously understand Rey Mysterio's point of view because it's, of what happened at Thanksgiving and everything like that. So it makes sense that Ray would react that way. And both sides were explaining it. Dominic Mysterio was arrested, and he had to spend Christmas in jail. So poor guy. I don't know. He kind of had that coming though. So, and
asshole.
I think Steve Coakley, Steve Steiner, Parachute Man #1, whatever he wants to be called, is going to get the wrestling thug that he always wanted because Dominic Mysterio cut a promo like a thug. So Steve Coakley is getting the wrestling character that he wanted for 5 years or whatever, even longer than that. Like,
that's hell. That's hell on earth.
I mean, pretty soon Dominic Mysterio is now going to be stealing the breast cancer awareness month checks. Now he's just going to be on a rampage. Like, I'm
he's
actually
in a rampage.
Oh no, I could still rampage. So, but I liked this. I like how they continue because obviously they realize that they're obviously if photos of them get shown of them together during the holidays, they realize. I mean, obviously everyone knows it is a storyline, but they want to keep kayfabe as much as possible. So I think they're doing it the best way that they can with the technology that they have. This is like Owen Hart and Bret Hart all over again. With pretty much they want to keep this as real as possible and everything like that. I wouldn't be a surprise if it's like a Ray call too, just because of how good he is and everything like that. And yes, we still don't have that moment.
He is such an ingrate, shitty son.
We still don't have that moment yet, though, because they're gonna have a face-off in the Royal Rumble match somehow too, if they're both in it and stuff like that. So, I really
with this story. I the payoff is Mania, but it's fucking January.
I know.
What are they gonna do for these next 3 months?
I know.
I feel like they went way too heavy at the beginning, and then they switched him to SmackDown, Ray. And now it's all right, can we stop doing this now? Can we let Ray have his own storylines on SmackDown?
He is for the most part. He had the IC title match, and now he's feuding with Karrion Kross. So they are having him have his own storylines.
But I want zero involvement from Dominic and Rhea until the Rumble or whatever, because they've done everything already.
They could do something where, maybe him and Ray and Karrion Kross have a match at the Rumble, and then Dominic Mysterio screws him over, and then they have a face-off in the Rumble. Or they could do something where Ray and Karrion just have a match on SmackDown. And, I mean, obviously Karrion Kross is going to beat Ray when they have that match because that's the right thing to do. And then
Ray should squash him under a minute.
That's what you want. Hey, they already did that with Jeff Hardy, so we don't need that happening again. So, and then they could do something where they have a face-off in the Rumble. So, but yeah, I like the Dominic and Ray storyline. I like how they've stretched it out and everything like that. So, and then other things going on. We have some stuff going on with the Intercontinental Championship. Ricochet just had his title shot against the champion, Walter. And
yeah, there. Yeah, that was great. It was great.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Obviously, like we predicted at the time, it was everything we said. Where Ricochet was going to put up like a really good babyface fight, but he didn't win the championship. And now they're doing the feud between Walter and Braun Strowman, which is going to be awesome.
Yeah, Gunther against Braun Strowman should be good.
He got completely taken out by Imperium on SmackDown a couple weeks ago. And now they're doing the title match next week, which we'll do predictions for later in the video, which I'm really looking forward to that title match. That's going to be a hell of a title match. I don't think Walter's really wrestled anyone like in WWE, like his size, really. I think the closest he came was like... What was it? Rampage Brown. I think that's probably the closest like he came to fight someone his size. Like
Gunther. Yeah, Gunther fought Rampage Brown.
Well, Walter actually fought Rampage because it was Walter then.
No, it's Gunther.
But I'm actually interested to see it. I really like how they. I thought they would have done it at the Rumble, but they probably want to have both guys like be in the Rumble, and they don't want to overload the Royal Rumble like pay-per-view, so they probably make sense to do it on SmackDown. But yeah,
plus, probably going to be a lot of surprises too. So they don't want to like overload with actual talent. They probably want to have like 10 spots or so for surprises.
Yeah. So I'm really interested in the IC. What do you think of the IC title feud? Because I'm really digging it.
It's good. I mean, like Gunther's really. This is the role he should have been in from the start, instead of the 2-week push and then bury him Vince McMahon style.
Well, that was gonna happen too, and then Vince was out of creative pretty much right when that was gonna happen too, which is funny, huh?
It's so funny because the following week, it was like he got pushed instead of being buried.
Yeah,
hilarious. I was like, thank God Triple H took over then because he probably would have lost that match.
Yeah, he probably would have.
And they would have broken up Imperium right there.
But it looked like they were going that direction too, because if you remember, Walter was like abusing Marcel Bartel and stuff.
Yeah, Ludwig Kaiser was really getting abused there. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like
by Gunther. Yeah.
They wouldn't have even if you think about it, we wouldn't have even gotten Imperium on the main roster together because if you remember, Fabian Eichner didn't even get called up with them or anything like that.
Yeah, Giovanni Vinci was down there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know a completely different gimmick. So like, just think about what would have happened.
How they called him up and they just let him use the fucking Imperium gimmick instead of just male models gimmick that he was doing before.
Which I'm happy they did that. So,
I like it.
Then we have the U.S. title picture going on. A lot of going on there. Seth Rollins and Lashley recently had a match to determine the #1 contender, and Rollins won, and then it led to Lashley, because what happened is the week before this, Lashley got in trouble for inadvertently spewing Petey Williams, who's one of those backstage guys they went out to like break up fights and stuff backstage.
Or as he's called now, Pete Williams.
Yeah.
He's just good old Pete.
Yeah. And basically Adam Pearce like gave him a warning, and then he inadvertently shoved Adam Pearce because he was so angry about how he lost and everything like that. And he got fired, but then Adam Pearce realized it was just a heat of the moment, and it was just cooler heads prevailed, and he said he wasn't fired, but they were going to have a conversation about it. And basically Lashley is kind of on like a little bit of a leave of absence. However, I know this doesn't involve the U.S. title picture. They may be putting back the Hurt Business together because MVP came up and said he wanted to have a conversation with Adam Pearce. And I didn't notice this until like I saw it get posted recently and stuff. When I think it was Mia Yim, or there was someone like walking backstage not that long ago, and you can see in the background, I think it's like MVP's talking to like Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander and stuff like that. So They may be
but
putting
where
back.
does that leave Omos if they do that? Is Omos join the Hurt Business too?
Yeah. Oh, I wonder if Omos is
big heavy.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if Omos's days in the company are just numbered because, because he hasn't really been seen all that much since that Braun Strowman loss at Crown Jewel and stuff like that. So,
that's his pet project.
Yeah, but I'm interested to see if they do put the Hurt Business and what they do with Bobby Lashley. Because the biggest thing they're going to do with him, obviously, is we're going to get that third match between him and Brock Lesnar because there's still unfinished business there. So
yeah,
probably at Mania or something.
With Brock still being the face and Bobby being the heel.
Mm-hmm. Well, now because I think now with Lashley being a heel full on actually because Lashley they were both kind of faces the second time they faced off, but I think Lesnar was more the baby face.
Yeah, because he got beat up after the match.
Yeah, but going back to the U.S. title thing, then Theory and Rollins had a match. Theory obviously retained the title. I keep reading reports that Rollins got hurt in the freaking match, but I'm really not seeing. It's freaking reports that I haven't seen a no DQ, Dave Meltzer or any of that. So I think these reports I think are freaking false because I haven't seen anyone a report you would expect to report on it. It hasn't reported that Rollins is freaking. That was obviously a fucking work, and people overtook that.
It was, and it was meant to draw something up online. Yeah. A lot of the stuff they do now is to get a reaction from the audience and to make it think like it's real.
Yeah,
he's walking out and then his knee gives out on him.
Yeah,
they're trying to make it seem like he's actually hurt.
I figured it was a work anyways because he was working on the knee anyways in the freaking match. So
yeah, exactly.
He was obviously selling the knee and everything like that. And like I said, because Meltzer and nobody else reported about it, that's when I'm like, okay, this is obviously a fucking work. What the fuck's what? Are fans really that gullible nowadays? What the fuck?
I know, yeah, they are.
That's the problem. Honestly, that's just so stupid. It's obviously.
Well, that's a problem. That's a good thing, though.
I guess though, but it's how did it's good? I guess it's a good thing, but I'm just thinking to myself, wait, how could they not have watched the fucking match and realized it was a work? You know what I mean?
Watching, I'm like, okay, that's a clear work. That's not. I didn't even think twice about it.
Yeah, I didn't even.
Did a really good job at selling.
I mean, now they should really play up to it too. They shouldn't have him show up until the Royal Rumble now, like Seth Rollins. So, or they do a storyline where he shows up on TV and says I may not be able to do the Rumble because I got injured last week or something.
That could be. Because
obviously we know Cody's coming back, but I think they're gonna nix that Seth Rollins program because obviously I know that's unfinished business, but now they're both baby faces. Rollins is clearly a baby face. He can't go back to being a heel because he's actually doing really well as a baby face. A storyline idea I had because they've been doing matches and stuff on the house shows is maybe have Seth Rollins because they have Seth Rollins feud with the Judgment Day, and he has to get a couple of partners and he gets Becky Lynch and he picks Cody as his partner and they do something the next guy that walks in here, I will team up with. The Judgment Day can pick his partner or something. They pick freaking Cody. That would be cool. They have to work. That's a way to kind of tie up that storyline without them having to have another match with each other.
Yeah.
Because there's money. I get the unfinished business, but I feel like you can't really do Cody versus Seth now that Seth's a babyface. It doesn't really work now. Especially too, because the last time they saw each other. You either have to turn Seth heel, but I don't think there really is a need to turn him heel. You know what I mean?
There isn't a need, but at the same time, I think they would do it to get that match with Cody.
Yeah. We'll see what happens, but I like the idea of the Judgment Day feud because it ties up the storyline without them having to have another match and turning anybody or anything like that. So, plus, Damian Priest, I don't really think has much of a purpose at Mania too. It would get Damian Priest on the card without, unless he goes into a ladder match or something. But here's one thing that talks about Judgment Day. Fucking Damian Priest is just freaking there, isn't he?
He's just there.
He doesn't have any storylines going on. Finn Balor's got storylines. Dominic Mysterio. like even though he's not in storylines because he has a thing with his dad going on, that keeps him relevant. And Rhea Ripley looks like he's gonna feud with Becky Lynch, but was just feuding with Asuka and stuff recently. It's like Damian Priest is really just freaking there, isn't he? Like he doesn't have a he's not fighting for a belt. He's not going for like the tag. Yeah, like I like him in the group. It's just he needs to do something. Like
yeah, he's basically just a heavy.
Yeah,
it's what it is. It's what he is at this point. He's just there.
But anyhow, moving on to something else that's been going on in the main roster. Let's talk about the women's division for a little bit. I mean, we kind of talked about the Raw women's division, but another feud that's been going on Raw is Becky Lynch and Bayley. They had a match recently on Raw. Again, I wondered why they just did it on Raw, but I think they want them both in the Rumble, so they did the match on Raw. And again, like I said, because that December time's the low period, I think they want to build interest to make people want to watch Raw, so they did the match on Raw. Because I think the Raw was like a weird December Raw that like probably didn't draw much of like a ratings and stuff. But yeah, they did Becky versus Bayley, and Bayley ended up winning via interference from Damage Control, which I think was a must win because Damage Control had been kind of getting a lot of losses and stuff recently. So Bayley kind of needed that win, and she had like interference and stuff like that. Like I think Becky could take the loss easily because it's Becky Lynch. Like she's not going to really hurt from that loss. Like Bayley really needed that win that week, and they did a thing this week where Becky had a partner. Where Becky had to find a partner. I think everyone thought that week it was going to be Sasha to kind of because it was reported that she had like just like finished with WWE, and which obviously ended up being true with what happened on January 4th. But that's not we're going to talk about that here. But I think everyone thought Sasha was going to come out because if you remember, that happened when AEW like first launched. Like everyone thought she was going to be at All Out like that weekend. She showed up on like the Raw before All Out, so I think everyone thought that was going to happen again. But it ended up being like Mia Yim, and they ended up losing to Dakota Kai and Io Sky. So I'm interested in the Becky Lynch Bayley feud. I don't think that's going to go on till Mania just because I think that'd be a bit too long. I think it's going to be the direction they're going to go with. It's going to probably Becky's going to have a match with Rhea or somehow be involved in like a Judgment Day feud type thing. But yeah, what do you think of like this Bayley Becky Lynch feud that's kind of going on right now?
It's good. I like it. It's always what the Becky's always good.
Yeah,
Bayley's always good. You put them together, you're gonna get a good feud.
I don't think they've really had like a full on like feud really like on the main roster. I know they had like not even in NXT really. Because I know Becky turned when she turned originally in NXT it was on Bayley, but they haven't really had like a program really together.
No, they haven't.
And obviously because like there's timing and things like they were both on different brands, and then Becky ended up having to take time off because she got pregnant, and then by the time she kind of came back, like Bayley was gone for a while, so I think the timing now is perfect for them to have a feud and stuff like that. Now the SmackDown Women's title picture, boy, did that freaking change within the past couple of weeks, because for a while it was reported that it was meant to be like Ronda Rousey versus Becky Lynch for like the SmackDown Women's title, and then there was reports that match was gonna like change. They didn't really want to do Becky versus Ronda anymore, and I was kind of wondering like why. Because I thought they were going to just take Becky out of it and replace her with somebody else. But that's not kind of what happened. So Ronda Rousey was feuding with Raquel Gonzalez or Rodriguez. I think it's Rodriguez now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's actually that one was a mistake. That one wasn't just me being a smart ass because that is confusing. But Raquel Rodriguez was working. Obviously, kayfabe injured. She won like a gauntlet match and stuff to get a title shot. And that was meant to be the match at the Royal Rumble was going to be Ronda versus Raquel Rodriguez. But then they did it on the episode of SmackDown where Cena had his first match December 30th. That SmackDown, by the way, I didn't really mention it when we talked about it at the time because we had other things, was like the most viewed SmackDown of 2022. I think they said the last SmackDown that like reached that height was like one in February or something like that. So... And like it did, Cena's match like was like the highest quoted Reddit segment and stuff, so that's pretty cool. But they had a match there, and I'm like, I was thinking it was gonna be a screwy finish, where there was gonna be a DQ and stuff. But I think I figured there was going to be a clean win once it went to like 2 commercial breaks. Because it went to 2 breaks. And then in the match, Ronda Rousey retained the title. And then Charlotte Flair returned. And Ronda Rousey did the whole typical thing where you're going to challenge me at SummerSlam. She obviously screwed up her line, but she covered by saying you're going to wait till all the way to SummerSlam and stuff, but she clearly screwed up. Charlotte Flair said that she was supposed to say the Royal Rumble, by the way. But Charlotte Flair says, no, I'm challenging you right now. The match actually happened. Ronda Rousey's ego got the best of her. And Charlotte Flair ended up winning the match and becoming the new champion. Now she's like a 14-time women's champion. Obviously, this got some hate because it's freaking Charlotte Flair. Always respect that. But I actually watched it. I actually kind of liked it because it was unpredictable. I didn't really see it coming. And it changed up the dynamics going into like WrestleMania time. Like you have to do title changes like that sometimes, especially like during Mania season, because everyone thinks like when you see something reported online, it's obviously going to be set in stone. So you have to do changes like that to make the fans keep guessing, so that way they don't know you don't know the card at Mania and stuff like well in advance and stuff like that. And again, I think like Charlotte Flair, like that place erupted when Charlotte Flair won that title. So I think it really worked out really well. And Charlotte Flair, like obviously this is the first time she's returned under the Triple H era. She's pretty much booked about the same. Because obviously, like I think that's the one thing Vince kept anyways, like from the NXT, where he kept Charlotte Flair the same. So I don't expect Charlotte Flair to really change all that much, like during the Triple H regime. But she's getting massive pops like now. Like she got like a thank you Charlotte chant this week on SmackDown. So and let's also talk about too, like Raquel Gonzalez / Rodriguez got a massive match out of Ronda. Like it was a really good match. And I think we have to sit here and talk about is Shotzi really as good as we thought? Because I remember the match was kind of stunk. And I say this, I'm gonna say, well, it could have been Ronda's fault too. Remember why that whole reason that women's Money in the Bank sucked last year? It was all Shotzi that kept fucking everything up. So I do think we have to kind of sit down and talk about that. Like, does Shotzi need like some work when it comes to her in-ring stuff and all that type of stuff? So that has a ton. But yeah, what do you think of like the SmackDown women's title like picture and everything like that?
It's okay. I mean, like Raquel's good. Charlotte needed to fucking win because Ronda Rousey might be a terrible investment.
Could be.
It's turning into a really bad investment. She can't talk. She can't wrestle. She can't do anything. But does she really need the fucking belt all the time?
Charlotte?
Ronda. Does she really need the fucking belt? Like, I feel like every time she comes back, she gets the belt. Like, there's no fucking reason for it. Because she's awful. But I'm happy Charlotte won for the simple fact that Ronda's not the champion anymore.
There you go. That's probably why everyone else. That's probably why the fans were happy she won. So,
like, I just don't like Ronda Rousey, and you know this from the beginning. I never liked her from the start.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah. So
I was so anti Ronda, and I still am because I think she's awful.
Yeah. And then other fans I want to make, I'm just going to check my list real quick. Make sure I didn't miss anything from like the main roster and stuff like that.
I don't think so.
Shelton Benjamin. I know it's main event talk, but I feel like you're going to make an exception here because it's a wrestler you really like. Recently just celebrated his 20 years in professional wrestling. Well, mainly WWE, but even though he hasn't been there 20 years, he made his like debut like 20 years ago. Like obviously not today, but like when the episode aired and everything like that. And they did like a special thing for him where he came out and had like a match, and then he did like a little speech and stuff like that. I would have liked if they would have done something like on Raw, but I feel main event's kind of been his show recently. He's been like very heavily involved with that. They did a thing backstage where he walked by Mia Yim, and if you know their relationship like behind the scenes and stuff like that, that's funny because like Shelton Benjamin always gives Mia Yim like shit, obviously joking around and all that type of stuff. I don't know where it started because But it's crazy that he's been around for 20 years because he doesn't look like he's been around for 20 years. He looks about the same since like he left. And then I'll talk about some moments real quick about like Shelton Benjamin. I obviously remember obviously the biggest thing is his super kick on like Raw when he had that Gold Rush match with Shawn Michaels. His money
that was sick. That was insane.
His Money in the Bank ladder match moments. He was Kofi Kingston's like first feud when he got called up to like the main roster in WWE back in 2008 and really got Kofi Kingston like going. And he's probably going to be like one of the greatest to probably like never win a world title. I know that's really weird to say that, but like there's probably other people but I think he's up there. Those like greatest like that should have been world champions. I know everyone's excused that like he couldn't talk or anything like that, but like there's guys that like couldn't cut promos at all. Like, I mean, I hate to say it, but like there were like Bret Hart before pre 1997 couldn't talk when he was champ. So the and like Jinder Mahal couldn't talk when he was champ. So like he easily could have gotten the belt. Like Bray Wyatt, I'm not saying he can't cut promos, but he couldn't be with the material he was given that they was giving him and stuff. Like he should have easily. He didn't even need to have a long title run either. He could have had like But if I was ranking him up there, he'd probably be up there with like some of the like the greatest like intercontinental champions of all time and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, easily, yeah.
Just always a really good, reliable hand, and I think definitely to a detriment sometimes. Not afraid to put over that like next generation and stuff like that. I mean, the fucking guys compete on main event every weekend, and is we could probably say he deserves better and stuff, but he's not complaining about it or anything like that. Like he's happy about the spot that he has with the company, even
fucking
if it's
made a fucking vent.
Yeah,
a fucking vent is the best he can get. It is the best he can get.
But yeah, what do you think about like Shelton Benjamin like being around for like 20 years?
It's awesome. Shelton's great. He's always been great too.
Yeah.
Like you said, one of the greatest to never win a world championship. The fact that he's never even had a run is fucking insane. But he is one of the greatest mid-card champions of all time, whether it be Intercontinental, US champion. That guy's fantastic in that sort of range. Tag champ.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I was watching a lot longer than before you. Team Angle, that was Team Angle was fantastic.
He beat Triple H.
They broke up. He beat Triple H on his first night on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching that, going, "Holy shit!"
Yeah,
Shelton Benjamin just beat Triple H. What? Like that was wild. And he got a mega push right out at the start, right out of the gate. He's a reliable hand. He's great.
Mm-hmm. Now, correct me if I'm wrong too. He's never been like a world champ, like anywhere, like not even like outside the WWE or anything, right? Like he's never been.
I don't think so. I think he's just been like tag champ.
Yeah, so it's like
I think it was just ROH tag champ with Charlie Haas. I think that was it. I think.
Yeah. So that's like crazy. The fact that guy's never like won a world. Him and Claudio up until like recently had like never been world champions like anywhere, which is freaking crazy. Like
it's wild to even think that.
Yeah. So I was always thinking like Claudio when I know we're not talking about it right now, but when he won that ROH world title and I heard about it and stuff, like wait, he's never been ROH world champion because I would have thought so because like he was in ROH for so long and stuff like that. But
I know, yeah, he was mainly a mid card guy there.
Yeah, but another thing that happened on the main roster, I guess we had to have to talk about it because it affects the main roster. Is AJ Styles recently got an ankle injury? He got it at a house show, which actually was terribly timed because there were reports that that they were possibly gonna let him go to Wrestle Kingdom this year, and boy, did that injury fucking happen at the worst possible time. Because I imagine how huge that would have been had he shown up in freaking Wrestle Kingdom this year.
Yeah, massive.
But, that's probably the worst. That's a terrible timed injury. They said he's gonna be out for a while. Like he went on Twitter or Instagram, I forget which one, and said that this is gonna be the longest he's ever been out of the ring. And I was trying to think about that because the longest I think up until like that is this injury. I think he's been out of the ring, not really doing anything, unless he did something like the Indies I don't know about. Was it when like he like made that transition to like that, obviously to like the dog hair, basically not the gimmick he has now, but basically what like he looks like now, like he had to grow his hair out and everything like that. Like
Oh yeah,
he took time off. So I think that's the longest. So that's why I asked if he'll miss Mania because that was like 3 months he was gone. So he was gone from like December till like March. So he might miss Mania. He could miss Mania this year.
he could.
I don't think it's going to affect the Good Brothers all that much. I would be worried if it was Vince's Vince creative because he never really saw anything in the Good Brothers. You want examples? There's been he has been times where the Good Brothers have been without the Finn Balor or something like that, and he doesn't do anything with them. But I think the Good Brothers will be okay. I know they didn't do anything like the first week they were gone, but that's because also Carl Anderson wasn't there that week because he was in Japan. So I think the Good Brothers will be okay. I could see them being like a challengers for like the Usos, because it seems like they're building up a feud between the Usos and the Good Brothers because they interfered in that main event match on Raw, not the show, when they faced Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins and stuff. So,
because they were part of the Run Out crew.
Yeah, so I think
Luke Gallows was because I think Carl was in Japan.
Yeah, but I think the Good Brothers are going to be okay. And I have a thing that maybe I think it's going to happen if AJ's gone all this time. But we'll talk about that when we talk about the. But yeah, what do you think about AJ being gone for a while? It kind of sucks.
It sucks too because it's AJ. We all love AJ.
Yeah.
For a guy to be wrestling this long in his life, to not have like a serious injury is crazy. I don't think he's ever had like an ACL injury or anything like that. He's never really missed like a whole lot of time.
Yeah, like I said, the only time he missed a whole lot of time was when he had to take time off doing that Dixie Carter like storyline and stuff like that. But that was it.
But he's been extremely durable, especially in WWE, especially like in his mid-40s now. Yeah. It sucks. Like, I like the game. I like the gimmick of the OC that's going on right now, and it just sucks that he has to miss it. Miss time in a Mania match and everything.
But I'm not. But like, are you like me though, where you're not worried about like now that AJ's gone, like
Oh no, I'm not worried about I'm not worried about the Good Brothers even remotely.
Yeah. Then another thing on the main roster is they're doing Royal Rumble qualifying matches right now. They had Ricochet beat Top Dollar recently. I know some people don't really like the fact they're doing Royal Rumble qualifying matches because anybody could just announce anyways the announcement in the Rumble, but I like qualifying matches. When I book stuff, a lot of them are qualifying matches because I like things to be earned, and it's just how I am. Just not going to change my mind on that. Plus, Top Dollar should have to prove himself
because he sucks.
What has he done that like resonates a Royal? Like you could say, what did Ricochet do? But like maybe Ricochet had to prove himself. He just came off a recent loss to Walter for the IC title. Hasn't been really on the winning ways recently, so they both got to prove themselves. So that's the way I look at it. So
yeah,
obviously Ricochet ended up winning. He actually won fairly like easily too. It was pretty much a squash. It was awesome. I loved it. And then hit low turn heel, by the way, too, which I actually think is going to be a necessary change because they weren't necessarily bad as baby faces, but they might be better as heels because they're always
because they suck.
But yeah, I think it's still going to be a struggle without Swerve though.
It's been a struggle from the beginning.
Yeah, I think the only way they could save it is if they have Carmelo Hayes get called up, but they're not going to. I know that they're doing that for a while, but that's everything for the. Oh, and Lacey Evans' new gimmick. I wanted to make sure we covered that because we haven't covered that yet. I know you've been very critical about it in our chat because she's changing gimmicks again, but I'm actually hopeful about it for the reason is it's because it's a new regime now. So I expect it to go at least better this time. Like I kind of don't really count Vince's like creative things when it comes to Triple H's things. So I kind of look at it as a new thing. So there you go. That's basically what I have to say about that. What do you have to say about that?
Fucking pick a gimmick and stick with it. That's all I'm gonna say. Pick a gimmick and stick with it.
I think
is
it's
she
heel.
a sassy Southern Belle? Is she a fucking Marine or is she a cage fighter? What is she?
Yeah. I think this time it's definitely going to be a heel gimmick. I could just tell from the vignettes that it's a heel gimmick. So, and also Matt Riddle got suspended recently. They did an angle where he was written off by Solo Sikoa, where he used the running hip attack and like the Samoan spike to take him out and stuff. And they announced that like the injury was going to take like 5 to 6 weeks, which then was revealed that he was suspended. This is for the wellness violation. This is his second offense, so he had to go to like rehab and everything like that. And they've also now changed their policy, which is funny because they didn't change it, because usually they alter it a little bit because of the Randy Orton thing, but they actually changed their policy like shortly after this. I forget what it is now. They're not going to release anybody. So what's the new? Because I didn't really read into it. What's the new policy? What's happened at the third offense now?
You don't get fired anymore.
Okay, which makes sense because you don't want like a talent like Matt Riddle out there for like a like an
Especially
impact.
since it's on strike too.
I know. So, but like I said, this policy, let's be honest, has been Randy Orton's probably changed his policy so much that you could just call it the Randy Orton policy at this point. Like, but I'm looking forward to seeing what happens when he returns and stuff too. Like he did like a post recently, like I think shortly after rehab, saying that he's feeling better. Because he did say mentally he's not okay either, because he just recently got divorced from his like wife and everything like that, and I don't think I think he lost the rights to the kids and stuff like that. So, but hopefully he can be better. Hopefully he comes back well refreshed and everything like that. So. I wonder when he'll do it. He'll come back, or if he'll just go back to his tag team with Elias, or if he'll kind of come back and do his own thing. But we'll see. And then one last main roster thing is Money in the Bank's in London this year, which I'm really excited about. This is obviously off the success of Clash at the Castle. Now Money in the Bank's gonna follow suit, which would be cool because Money in the Bank is a big pay-per-view. This means the Money in the Bank pay-per-view lives on. The only thing I'll say is please get the fucking Money in the Bank right this time. Like, I have faith in it, not in the Triple H regime. I know a lot of people probably don't because he kind of fucked up the Theory cash-in and stuff like that. But again, like I said before, like Triple H should want Theory as Money in the Bank because he won it under the Vince regime. But I actually think this, like, just get the Money in the Bank right. The biggest thing I want to happen with the Money in the Bank is I don't want to freaking cash in for like a while after the briefcase holder holds.
Oh yeah,
because that was getting stupid. That's why Liv's SmackDown title reign didn't get over originally. So, main reason that was one of the reasons. But I'm happy that it's in London. That it's July 1st. I might be watching it at your house again this year because you'll probably have your party like the next day, like you did last year.
Probably.
And this time we'll get to watch it nice and early too. We get to get up bright and early, 5 a.m. That's gonna be awesome. You probably will be up at 5 a.m. anyway.
I'll probably be up at 3 in the morning.
And I'm gonna have to text you, oh hey, I'm up, and then you like you didn't even come downstairs. Like if I just never text you, I would just stay downstairs all by myself, all by my lonesome, just looking around. You would have just been like, wow, this kid really sleeps, and if I just never texted you. Like you just But anyhow, what do you think about Money in the Bank being in London?
It's good. I like it. Get over there.
Yeah.
We need more UK shows. That crowd over there is notoriously very loud and awesome, and it showed at Clash at the Castle that they should have more pay-per-views over there.
I think this opens up hope that we're getting like a SummerSlam or like a Royal Rumble or Survivor Series over there. Not because Money in the Bank is like one of the big shows too. Like it's like probably the big five,
Yeah, this is the first step.
So, let's do some predictions real quick on some of the main roster shows happen. Then we'll talk about some NXT stuff. Nothing really announced for Raw, like in terms of a match or anything like that. I think it just announced like what's Theory going to do next and what's Alexa going to do next. I assume Alexa will do something like crazy, and Bianca Belair will like confront her for it and stuff.
And then Bianca Belair will stab her to death.
Oh yeah, because they did that with Eric Young stuff recently. So I don't know if that's the reference you were making, but I know they did that with.
She's just gonna murder her on live television, and then say, you know what? I don't feel like giving you a title shot.
Yeah. And then as for Theory, I expect his next challenger to get set up. Maybe like Dolph Ziggler, since I remember they did a thing a while back where they were feuded and stuff. And maybe like Mustafa Ali would come back, and I don't know. No match and anything's announced for I expect this week something big will happen, because they said last week there would be a big thing that happened. There really wasn't a big thing that happened. I expect this week something big's gonna happen. So
it's gonna it has to happen.
Yeah, I expect like some Royal Rumble, like some people announce their spots for like the Royal Rumble and stuff like that. So, on SmackDown this week, some matches have been announced. We're getting Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. This is a fucking scary match. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, I think Kevin Owens is beating Sami Zayn, and he's going to be in the doghouse again. The tribal chief will fucking yell at him again, and he's going to get fucking thrown out of the locker room like he did to Enzo, like Reigns did to Enzo Amore all that time ago. Like it wasn't the locker room, but this is going to be fucking scary. Like I'm full fucking scared. Please, I kind of want Sami to win just so that he doesn't get fucking murdered. I don't even know. Like, what do you think's happened?
What I think is going to happen is I hope that he loses, because then good shit is going to happen.
Maybe he'll get beat down this week if he loses, and
I hope
he's written off for a while. And if the Rock can't make the Rumble, there's a Royal Rumble spot open for Sami Zayn. He'll be fully recovered by then. So I'm just saying. So it's right there. Tag titles are right there too.
Yeah, they are. They're right there. They're like literally right there.
I would like to see something happen because I know he said that the Usos would take Reigns' side, but it'd be kind of cool, like if at first, like the Usos were like concerned, like if Reigns does beat him down, the Usos kind of like show concern, because like the Usos like Jimmy always liked Sammy, but Jay just turned his like luck around on Sammy. Like that'd be cool.
Yeah.
And like Roman had to say it's them or us, and then they'd be like that week Sammy gets beat down or something. I don't know. I'm so scared. I think there's a women's match announced, but I just don't remember what it is. I know we're getting the IC title match. This will probably open the show. It's going to be Braun Strowman versus Walter, with a name you like to say. So this time, that's probably going to be a title retention for Walter, probably. I expect Hit Row to probably interfere. They've added that in there now. So, what do you think is happening there?
Anything could happen in the WWE.
This is going to be a hoss match, though. This would be a fight. I expect something to happen where Drew McIntyre and Sheamus confront the Viking Raiders, because they got attacked after SmackDown last week, so that could happen. But now let's start talking about some NXT. We're going to talk about NXT Deadline for a little bit. We're just going to go over the highlights. What do you think of the pay-per-view overall? I know it's been like a month since it's happened, but when you watch it and stuff, what do you think of it?
I thought it was a good show.
Yeah, it was very good. The kickoff had Denise Salcedo, Mackenzie Mitchell, and Sam Roberts host it. They did fine enough on the kickoff. I mainly had it on in the background and just kind of listened to it and stuff like that, but they did well enough. Kind of felt bad for Denise because she really didn't get to say anything. She was just kind of there. But I hate to say it, that kind of does happen with Denise sometimes. I've seen her show up on podcasts sometimes, and especially when it's like a big group of people. Like I've seen her show up on like Quizlemania, and she doesn't really say all that much. I'm not trying to rag, but I just expect that. That's how it is sometimes. So, she got to meet Shawn Michaels, so she got something out of the deal, right? So, I just say it too. Everything this should be Noah freaking on there. Noah freaking dedicates his, because Denise does it as like a job, and she does it as a hobby. Like Noah dedicates his fucking life to doing this. He has a job on the side, and he dedicates his life to do it. Like I know you don't know Noah as well as I do, but if you see what Noah does for content and stuff every week, you would be fucking amazed and be like, you would agree with me that Noah should be on there, because he really should be. But anyhow, the show itself, I'm just going to talk about the two Lion Survivor challenges because they were both the same match and everything like that. This was obviously a fairly new concept. We've seen this kind of done in wrestling in TNA / Impact Wrestling before. The only thing that was different was it wasn't like a ladder match, and you could be disqualified, which thank God they didn't tie in. And, I feel like there should have been a DQ at some point. I guess it's only a DQ if you use like a weapon, but it's like I feel like that's a dumb thing. That shouldn't even be a thing. But I'm glad that
it really shouldn't.
But it was kind of two different matches. One match was Roxanne Perez. They basically had the Iron Survivor, and went the whole match and stuff like that, and got the final pinfall at the very end. And then Cora Jade didn't have enough time to get a pinfall. Everyone looked pretty well in the match. The only one that really didn't look that good was Kiana James. She looked fine enough, but they should have had her come in last. I think she came in like third. That was a freaking mistake.
That was a mistake, yeah.
She should have come in last. But it was Roxanne Perez and Zoe Stark and like Cora Jade that were the standouts of the match. As for the men's one, I like the men's one more, I think, because I think they did more experimenting with like the penalty box and stuff, because they had people like do shit off of it and like towards it and stuff like that. They had what's his name? Grayson Waller like showed up and he got like 3 pinfalls like right away and stuff like that. And I really like the men's one a lot. The big thing that happened was like there was one person of each thing that didn't get like a pinfall, which I kind of thought was a bit questionable because that kind of made like that person look bad. I didn't really mind it with Kiana James because that made sense, but I feel like Jordan Devlin, he should have gotten like a pinfall or something because that was kind of got shit on a little bit in that match. But I really like the Iron Survivor challenges. I kind of hope that this was a testing grounds of it, and they should do this at like a Survivor Series one time because I think this match would bane at a Survivor Series. Especially too, like you have like, because obviously everyone here is pretty well experienced, but you would have like people that like were in the business for like years that could really make this match into something and stuff like that. The only suggestion I would make is if you're going to do it on the main roster, they probably should be a half hour though, because 25 minutes just seemed like a really weird time limit. But what do you think?
Half hour would have been good.
Because like you could have that like the match go on like another 10 minutes and stuff like that. But what'd you think of the Iron Survivor Challenge as a concept and everything like that?
I like the match. I like the concept. I thought that was really cool. Something different that they've never done before. But yeah, I liked it. I thought it was a cool concept.
And like I said, I like how different they were because they had one where the face went the whole way, and then they had one where Grayson Waller healed his way to get a victory. So I like how they were different.
Because Grayson Waller's a bitch.
That's what you think. The other matches that happened on the show was Isla Dawn versus Kaylee Ray. That was actually a really good match. That finish was fucking terrible. Like the referee in the match missed it a couple weeks before that. And had like goop coming out of his mouth, so like they had another referee come in and like take over the match, and like it led to that finish was fucking terrible. That was awful.
That was awful.
And then we had the New Day. So I remember we predicted that week that there was going to be a tag team that was going to lead to a title match. I never would have fucking predicted that it was going to be the New Day that interrupted them.
I popped. I was like, holy shit, it's the fucking New Day.
The New Day came back and they won the NXT tag team titles off of Pretty Deadly. This was fucking necessary. This tag division really needs a lot of help, and I think the New Day, as you've seen recently, is going to help this tag division get back.
Oh yeah, they're super over.
Yeah,
it's super fucking the Capitol Wrestling Center, where the fuck it's called now, the fucking Performance Center, fucking blew the roof off the place.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
And surprisingly, like the match was actually like really good too. Like they did some really cool stuff in the match and everything like that. So I was happy with the New Day match. So had the Iron Survivor, like it was probably my favorite match that wasn't like one of the Iron Survivor Series like challenges. So and then the main event, I don't know why they main evented this match because it kind of made who was going to win predictable, considering the fact that who we saw won the Iron Survivor Challenge. It was Braun Breaker versus Apollo Crews. I like the match. This is a bit of a criticism when it comes to a Braun Breaker match. I always feel like they end like very abruptly, like not like in a good way. Like you get into the match and all of a sudden like it's like over out of nowhere. Like it happens a lot. Like except that triple threat match. Like I feel like it happens a lot with a Braun Breaker match. Like you really get into it and then all of a sudden it's like over out of nowhere. Like what's going on? I was into that and then all of a sudden it was just over.
Yeah, it just abruptly ended.
Yeah. But I feel like it's more like Braun Breaker that it happens to. Like all of a sudden you get into it, and all of a sudden it's like over. It's like, does he not want to entertain us all of a sudden now? Like, are you a heel now? Like, you don't want to, like, you don't get to get into nothing I do. Like, it's like, what are you doing? Like,
it's just like with Braun Breaker, a lot of his feuds are just the fucking same.
Yeah, except this Grayson Waller feud as of late, but
a little bit different, but the matches are all the fucking same.
Yeah. They're not all the same. We had that crappy feud he had with Joe Gacy, so appreciate what you have, or else you'll get feuds like that. So,
they're all the same.
That was not the same. That was
Everyone's
shit.
The same.
3
matches the same. It's done the exact same way.
Yeah.
They all tried to kidnap his dad.
Yeah, they went up his dad. So
it sucked.
But yeah, if I was giving NXT like Deadline a grade, I would probably give it like an A-. It was awesome. I think the only thing that like kept it down was that women's match and the abrupt ending of the NXT title match out of nowhere. We should talk about, by the way. I mean, we're gonna talk about it more. Booker T had a good weekend that weekend because 2 of his students walked out with, well, not with a title, but at least walked out with like a big victory. Athena walking out with the women's ROH title. And Roxanne Perez winning the Iron Survivor Challenge, and then obviously later in the week winning the NXT Women's Championship. So good week for the reality of wrestling school. That
week. Yeah, absolutely.
Like Booker T got emotional and stuff like that. Like during the women's match, he had to call all afterwards. He was kind of flustered because he was still like emotional over the Roxanne Perez and stuff. So, let's talk about what's been going on like NXT and stuff. We're gonna do a bit of a preview for NXT New Year Evil coming up. This is the 3rd one they've done. We have some matches coming up. We have Dijak's gonna face Tony D'Angelo. This feud stemming off of the fact that they were both gunning for the NXT North American Championship. And Dijak ended up costing Tony D the title, and he ended up like kicking the crap out of his like student or his protege or whatever. Which that was disturbing. That was mean.
It was mean. It's always mean.
Yeah.
He's
Tony D's now looks like he's a baby face. Or at least it's going in that direction. And he's definitely a baby face because I don't know if you follow the NXT like Instagram chat. They've been posting like sometimes they'll post their house shows and stuff. And there's like a match I think he has where he's doing like babyface spots. So he's clearly a babyface now, I think.
Oh yeah, especially by that comeback too.
Yeah. And they're having a match this week. I thought they said it was like a street fight or something, but it's just a regular wrestling match. And essentially whoever becomes wins this match will be the #1 contender for the North American title because Wesley did an interview afterwards and said that he would probably face the next guy for the belt. He said to commentate for the match. And I think that's just going to be like an obvious Dijak win because that's the match they'll build into for Vengeance Day because they're going back on the road. So yeah, I think Dijak's obviously winning that match. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, Dijak needs to win that match.
Yeah.
Tony D can afford to lose it, but I think Dijak's going to win.
By the way, did you see that Dijak's Instagram now is still T-Bar? That's a freaking hilarious. It's still freaking T-Bar. Like,
let's go T-Bar.
But Pretty Deadly are gonna have a gauntlet match. They're gonna face 3 teams. And if they can win that, they'll get an NXT tag title shot because they've been trying to get their rematch, but the New Day's like putting them through the winner. They're trying to have them do all this stuff to get a tag title match, but it's just not happening. Which I think is hilarious that they're doing that. It's awesome. I think one of the things they tried to get him to get was like the Rock's tooth or something like his eyebrow. They're trying to get him to his eyebrow. Like that's awesome. For the teams I think they'll face and who I think like will win, I think that one of them is going to be like maybe like a Jawbo enhancement team first. Like they'll face like one of the teams. There's like a team on Level Up that's like twin brothers or something like that they're probably going to face. Then it's going to probably be like Malik Blade and Adius Enofe or whatever their names are.
Yeah.
And then they're going to face probably like Brooks and Jensen. That'll be like the last team they face. And I think Pretty Deadly will get at least to the third match. But I do think if it is Brooks and Jensen that they face, I think we're gonna have like some Kiana James bullshit interference where that
guaranteed.
Causes Pretty Deadly. We'll talk about that later. Where that causes Pretty Deadly to win. But yeah, what teams do you think that Pretty Deadly are gonna face? If there's teams you think they'll face different than I do, and who do you think? Do you think they're gonna win the gauntlet and face the New Day?
That would be good. I like that. Yeah.
Well, so that's what you think. You think they'll win the gauntlet?
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. Also at New Year's Evil, we're gonna have Charlie Dempsey versus Hank Walker. This match was supposed to happen last week, but Charlie Dempsey was hurt, which we found out was kayfabe. I wasn't sure if it was like a legit injury, but it was kayfabe because he does stuff like he takes a splint off like later in the show, so it's obviously kayfabe. This is something happy that's changed in the Triple H regime. Drew Gulak's doing something again. He's basically the babyface version of Timothy Thatcher's gimmick in NXT, except obviously he's a bit nicer, I guess, but sometimes he's not nice. There's been times where like he could have released the Gulak where he should have. He was kind of mean He was kind of mean to Chase University, saying that they were soft, which was very mean. But he's taken Hank Walker under his wing. And this is clearly built into a match at some point between Drew Gulak and Charlie Dempsey, which I'm all for seeing.
100%. That'd be awesome.
But I think this is going to be like an obvious win, probably an easy win for Charlie Dempsey. I expect like Hank Walker to get like a hope spot and do something like Drew Gulak's taught him, but this is going to be an obvious win for Charlie Dempsey. I mean, unless they want to use like the kayfabe like arm injury, but I feel like Charlie Dempsey's just going to fucking like I think Hank Walker's going to be fucking dead this week. What do you think?
I think so too. I think it's going to stretch him right out. Stretch him right out, make him submit, and make him tap out like the bitch that he is.
I mean, since we're sort of on that topic, I feel like you were going to put it up later. We should mention, by the way, that William Regal is backstage in WWE now. When he returned, because I didn't even hear about it until like recently. So,
yeah, he's back backstage. I think he started like right after the New Year.
Okay, so it was fairly recent when I heard about it, but I say that I feel like Charlie Dempsey was a perfect chance to talk about it since that's his son. He can't do anything on screen though because he has like not a no complete clause, but like a no on screen clause that he can't do anything on screen. So like, don't expect to see William Regal on screen until like
happen.
Yeah, but I'm happy he's back. Year. I'm happy he's back though. I think the AEW Dogs like enhancement talent and stuff's gonna get freaking raided by Regal now though. Just because, like like I said, I talked about in the last video, like William Regal was backstage doing dog tapings and saw that talent. So,
yeah, you did, yeah.
But another match that's happening is Indus Sher versus Diamond Mine / the Creed Brothers. They've waited a while to do this match because the Diamond Mine / the Creed Brothers just got cleared recently. Both of them fully ready to go. I can't wait to kind of see how this match goes. We haven't seen Indus Sher team up. I think we saw them have like a squash match, but we haven't seen them have like a full-on match together since like the pandemic days because they haven't been really a team and stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they've been a tag team in forever.
Yeah,
they still really haven't had a match either.
I actually think Indus Sher is gonna win because Ivy Nile is gonna come down and like throw the towel in or something. Just to show concern for the Creed Brothers. Because one, that Indus Sher kind of needs to win this more because they need to show they're like a dominant tag team coming back. Like I said, I think this is like their first match back. And it seems like they want to split up Diamond Mine a little bit. Obviously not completely. Like they obviously keep the Creed Brothers and probably like Ivy Nile and Tatum Paxi together as a tag team. But I think Diamond Mine is like a faction stays unnumbered. But what do you think?
I think that they could. I mean, Diamond Mine could win, but I think it's going to be Indus Sher because they're just reunited.
Yeah. Then we have a battle royal for the women's match that's going to happen. The winner of this match will face, I almost said Cooler J, but it's going to be Roxanne Perez at Vengeance Day / New Year's Eve or whatever. The first show where they go on the road. And basically every woman's in this battle royal. So we'll just save a prediction. Roxanne Perez just recently won the title from Mandy Rose. We found out why that happened. We'll talk about that later. That's one of our topics. Obviously, I mean, it does make sense that it was last minute though, because she didn't get like a big, like, you know, confetti or anything like that. It was kind of very last minute because she was clearly meant to win the title on this show. That's going to happen. And then they haven't had a feud for her again because they had to do the title change so last minute. And she did like an interview with Booker T. That was awesome. It really wasn't an interview. It was kind of more of like a conversation, student to teacher, like conversation type of thing. They did a big crappy segment where they basically set up this battle royal where they did that whole thing. No, I want the title shot. No,
that was awful. That was terrible.
And yeah, it was awful. And yeah, there's a lot of women in the battle royal. It's really tough to like pick a winner because it really could go either way. And there's a lot of people that are in feuds and stuff right now. Like you have Zoe Starks and Nikita Lyons. I think are going to still feud after this.
Oh yeah, that's not done.
You have like Cora Jade and that woman. What's the name of that lady that like sleeps all the time and all that type of stuff?
Wendy Chu.
Wendy Chu. Yeah, for them that is still feuding. I really don't want it to be someone from like Toxic Attraction that wins it. I really don't want that. However, though, there is a caveat because they've been doing vignettes recently of someone. It's clearly a woman that's coming this day. I was gonna say it's Chelsea Green, but unless she's dyed her hair, the person looks like a blonde, and Chelsea Green's a brunette clearly, so it's not Chelsea Green. So I'll predict maybe that person would win it, but again, I don't know who it is. So if it's like Tiffany Stratton, then I'm not picking that person because we haven't seen Tiffany. We haven't seen Tiffany Stratton in a while, and she is a blonde. So, but I'm actually just gonna say Cora Jade wins because I think
that makes the most sense.
Especially too, they did that finish where the Cora Jade like barely won the match, like barely lost the match, and it's gonna be NXT's first show on the road. They probably want to do that match on the road at some point. So I think Cora Jade's gonna win. I know you could say what about the Wendy Chu thing? I think you have enough time to easily blow that feud off before Vengeance Day. Like Vengeance Day is not until February 4th. So, but to you, there isn't enough time for anything though. So to you, there isn't enough time. So
no time.
But yeah, well, who do you think is winning the battle royal?
Cora Jade for sure. I feel like that feud should happen for the title.
Yeah. Then we have what will probably be the main event. It's going to be Braun Breaker defending his title against Grayson Waller. I think it's like an easy title win for Grayson Waller, but there is a part of me that's questioning it. The reason I question it is because I do wonder if they want to have Braun Breaker be a champion, like have this title when they have their first like show on the road. So I'm actually going to predict this. I think Braun Breaker will retain the title, but it'll be like a controversial like win. Like Grayson Waller will get his foot on the rope, the ref won't see it, or like maybe he'll have like they'll do a ref bump and he'll have like Braun Breaker beat at one point, like they like to do with the heels, where he has him beat for like a visible 3 count, but then Braun will still win, and he'll use that as like an argument to get a rematch. Because the reason I predict this, it probably makes more sense to have Grayson Waller be the champion. You can do this rematch. I think they won't. I think it's smart to probably have Braun Breaker. He's held the title for this long. He should at least have one title match like on the road while he's champion. So I think
I feel they have to do one road title match.
And I feel like you could easily have Grayson Waller like caveat, because I think he is going to be the guy that dethrones Braun Breaker anyways. I just think he'll get like screwed over somehow. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And that's New Year's Evil. Anything else you want to talk about NXT related? I have a couple of things, but I'm going to let you start.
I have one thing, but we're going to talk about it, and that's it.
What is it? Because I'll let you bring it up.
The Mandy Rose firing.
Oh yeah. Why don't you just talk about that now? Because
so
I think it'd be funny if you have to talk about it too.
The few weeks before the end of the year, Roxanne Perez won the NXT Women's Championship, and everyone was shocked that she had won because the original plan was for her to win it at New Year's Evil. But Mandy Rose got fired because she chose to be a slut and a whore over her career. She chose her paid ventures over the career that she's been trying to build and get respect for herself over whoring herself out online for money. And she chose whoring herself online for money because the money was too good. So I have zero fucking respect for her. Like, why? Like, you tried to build yourself up for all these fucking years, telling people how good you were. You finally get to a point in the ring where people were starting to say that you were good. And then you throw that all away to get naked online? What the fuck? Like, this is so stupid. It's just so dumb. And I'm not surprised because underneath that fucking dark hair, she's a dumb blonde. At the end of the day. Yeah, the fucking quick $1 million. Good for her. Wow. But what happens when you're not the flavor of the month anymore and people stop caring about you? What happens then? Oh, wait. That's right. They're going to move on to someone else to jerk off to. That's right. You know, you're fucking, I'm gonna put my hair over my boobs and cover my nipples, and then my nipples slightly hangs out. Then I'm gonna cover up my hair again. Nervous content. Because it's all it is. Her content's all the fucking same. It's the same stupid shit over and over and over again, but these simps will continuously fucking spend $50 to $100 to $200 for this stupid content. It's just stupid.
I should make a point that Chris isn't one of those people. He, let's just say we have a private, like, Telegram, like, chat that posts these things for free. So that's also going to happen, too. Like, I think I went to the...
Personally, I don't give a fuck about OnlyFans. If you want to make an OnlyFans, fine. Go ahead. I don't care about what you do with your mom. It's your prerogative to do whatever you want with your life. I don't give a shit. But once you start throwing away your career for it, that's when it's like, like, OnlyFans was meant for porn stars. That's what it was meant for. All those companies, Fansly, all that shit was meant for fucking porn stars to make money, make their own money, and not have to go through a shady company. Well, it wasn't meant for people like Mandy.
I'll say this about, like, OnlyFans. I'm happy it is a thing, just because we talked about it, like, when we did the retro for SummerSlam, I think it was 2000 with China, because that would have been a nice option for China, because I would have saved China's life, considering the fact of, like, what China was going through during that phase. So happy OnlyFans is a thing. I assume they don't get, like, the full amount of money. I assume the website gets some of it, but, like, you know, because it is a website. And her thing isn't necessarily OnlyFans. It's like a little private website she made. I don't even know what it is, but it's clearly it's the same thing pretty much. Yeah, basically my thoughts on it is I really wish there was like another way, but because everyone says they could have like suspended Mandy and all that stuff. The thing was about Mandy is the reason they couldn't really suspend her. She was going to make money anyways while suspended. So I feel like that really wouldn't have helped any. Like she would have obviously just kept doing the content, even if she had like come back and everything like that. She had also been like repeatedly told to stop doing the content too by like WWE and stuff like that, and continuously like did the content. I remember when we saw these things, we were like, wait, how is WWE allowing this to happen? Well, we found out they weren't allowing it to happen. Yeah, she should have obviously like focused on her work in the ring and stuff like that. Because I can understand if you have an Impact or like an indie star having an OnlyFans, right? Because, you know, you don't get as much money doing that type of stuff sometimes because it's the indies and stuff. You want to have like that extra thing, but you're in WWE and making like pretty decent money. Even AEW, you're making pretty decent money and stuff like that. And you're choosing to do that. And also, I talked about this too. This is also during the Triple H regime now. This is something that Triple H tried to get away from as for the women's division in general, Like, what are people gonna think when they find out that your women's champion is doing OnlyFans content? Like, they're gonna think, wow, WWE is still having the models be champions now and stuff like that. So I can understand fully Triple H wanting to get away from that and that type of stuff. And I know like there's still models out there. Like I know Tiffany Stratton was like signed, but again, that wasn't a Triple H signing and stuff like that. And there was models that get signed, but some of them have the talent to back it up. Don't I think of a model that just got signed like fairly recently. I think like I know Giselle Shaw at Impact was like a model coming into us to Impact and stuff, and she's been pretty able to back it up in the win and stuff like that again because she's also had some work in the Indies. But the thing that pissed me off those two things that pissed me off the most about this. First, it's back to the All Out thing again, sort of, where Roxanne Perez had a big freaking title change, and this Mandy Rose firing basically overshadowed Roxanne Perez's like first title change. Like that sucks. That Mandy Rose was the thing that came out of talking about more Roxanne Perez like first title change, and that basically Roxanne Perez got the belt, early because of it. And like second, I was so pissed about the backlash about the fans being upset about Mandy for this reason. Like, where was this fucking passion when like Braun Strowman? I know you say those player wrestlers. Where was this passion when Braun Strowman, Bray Wyatt, the OC, and all those wrestlers that legitimate, like there was no OnlyFans or anything like that either. But like, we should even say like a Maria Kanellis or like other people when they were fired, when they couldn't even make money anyways during a pandemic. Like they couldn't do anything. Like Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt were fired right before the fans came back.
Yep.
Like that's what the thing I was mad about the most. Like they were all pissed that Mandy Rose got fired. Also, I should say this. They were pissed about it, but then there was reports later on that came out that Mandy Rose had asked for her release any freaking ways so she could do this. So it's not like Mandy Rose, I don't even think was like the fans were more upset that she was gone more than freaking Mandy Rose was. So,
and those same people who said that, who were crying that Mandy Rose got fired, were the same ones that were saying that she sucked.
Mm-hmm. And then they were like looking at the positive side, like, wait, now the content's gonna get more dirty and all that type of stuff. No, it won't. Probably won't. I mean, we've seen
the same thing.
Yeah. So. Other NXT things I wanted to talk about. There's some storylines that are going down. I want to talk about the Kiana James, not Tatum Paxley. What's the name of that chick that's with Brooks and Jensen?
It's Kiana James.
No, the chick that's the chick.
What the fuck is her name? I forget her name now.
The manager of Brooks and Jensen.
The fuck is her name?
Oh, Ivy. No, not Ivy Nile. What's her name?
The fuck is her name?
Gotta go on Instagram.
The fucker. Why am I? Fallon Henley.
Fallon Henley. I was getting there. So they did a feud recently where it was basically like the Shawn Michaels, like a version of the Shawn Michaels JBL feud where Fallon Henley felt like Ball was gonna like close and all that type of stuff. I like how, by the way, this ball was like, I know the ball was brought up, but like this ball was randomly brought up again. Like, I don't know, like they didn't go to the ball for like 3 months. And then all of a sudden, like, oh, the ball's closing. What's going on here? Like,
because she has to be relatable.
Yeah. But they did a thing where like her ball was going to close. No, it wasn't even that the ball was going to close. Kiana James wanted to buy the ball to put like condos there. And then they went away from it for a bit and did a storyline where she was like hidden on Brooks, but being like a complete bitch to him and everything like that. I remember he was supposed to like be ringside like for the Iron Survivor challenge, and it really didn't tie. Like you didn't even see him at all during the Iron Survivor challenge. I don't think you saw. And then we found out the ball fell on hard times, and basically they couldn't pay any of their bills or anything like that, which is like really dumb because like you're a wrestler who makes money and you can't really pay like good money too, like on the NXT roster, one of the top talents on there, and you can't pay the bow tabs, not the bow tabs, but the bills or anything like that. So I think we found out like Kiana James like paid them off somehow, and it led to like a match. It was basically the custody of Dominic all over again, where somehow you had to have a wrestling match to get all your debt. Well, I guess they said that Kiana James paid off all the debts, but they decided that in a wrestling match. So I think this is an example that John Taffer, by the way, is not a wrestling fan, because they probably would have tried to get him into the storyline, but it's on NXT, not enough for that, not enough for that. So,
who cares about it?
Fallon Henley ended up winning the match, and now it looks like she's gonna. Kiana James is doing like a fake baby face thing where she's completely lost the glasses and now is gonna act like they're probably gonna do a thing where, because I think the women's Dusty Cup's coming up soon, where they team up in the Dusty Cup and they're gonna like get to like the semifinals or something, and Kiana James will like screw her over then and find out, oh, it was all a trick. No, it's still a heel.
Ooh. That dirty, deceptive heel that everyone knew was happening.
Yeah, but I really don't like the storyline all that much. I was interested in the beginning, but then they didn't really know what they wanted to do with it. And sometimes there were just storylines that like don't really translate to like wrestling. Like, what does this have to do with wrestling other than like they're both wrestlers? So it was kind of like
wrestling in a wrestling ring.
Yeah, so I really didn't like this. Plus, too, it seemed like they were gonna it's also not a good utilization of Brooks Jensen. I really want them to get away from the fact that like just like we've seen Brooks and Jensen when they're just booked as like a regular tag team, that they're great, but then they do shit like this where you hate to see Brooks. Like, to a point, I don't even want to see him on my TV at all. So, yeah, I haven't liked this
for them,
huh?
No TV time.
Yeah, but what did you think of the storyline? The storyline's been awful.
It just sucks because Brooks and Jensen are good. Fallon Henley's good, but it's just a stupid storyline that doesn't move the needle for anyone.
Yeah. And then we didn't talk about this because it's funny. Scripts, baby. So I was interested in scripts in the beginning, and then it got like funny, and it's like not even interesting anymore. So apparently, scripts was like, because we didn't talk about it last time because we were crunched for time. I don't even know what scripts was doing, but he was like calling into the performance center and like leaving voicemail saying he's gonna like destroy. I don't even think he said NXT. I think he said the performance center, right? I think that's what it was. Then he left like he went and sprayed graffiti like on the performance center, and then he debuted. He just randomly debuted too. He didn't come in and like have like a big thing. He just randomly came in and decided to have a match. And he came in like through the crowd, and it's just freaking Reggie in a fucking mask. Like, I can't even explain what he looks like. It just looks so like, what the fuck is that? And then after that, like he started like going after Ike Manjiro, and he didn't like him because he was wearing a jacket and all that type of stuff, I guess. And then I think like the promo segments he has are like him like writing poems about how he's gonna destroy NXT and stuff, and how he wants to express his hatred for NXT with poems. Like this is so bad, but it's like so bad that's like laughable type of bad. Like but it's like funny. Like, look, what the fuck? Like, oh my gosh! Like, what are you doing? Like, what is this? I don't even know what this is, but like, huh?
That's what it is.
That's what?
It's scripts.
I still think it's you. I still think this is you.
You will never fucking know if it's me or not, because I'm never gonna say. There was one thing that supports it. You didn't really watch NXT all that much when he showed up. The week you watch it, he wasn't on. That has to mean something, right? Convenient, right?
The week you watch, no mention of him either. Nothing. Like,
think about it too. Convenient.
Yeah. So And plus, there was a time you hated NXT because you couldn't watch it because you had to work on Wednesdays. So Tuesdays free for you. You have time to go. I mean, I just wonder why you've wasted money going to Florida just to do this, but
I don't know why.
I don't know what you have it.
Though.
Huh?
Never fucking know.
Yeah. You and Scripps haven't been in the same room together, so you could be Scripps.
We haven't.
The other person I think it could. I think it could be Reggie because they haven't been in the same room together yet. So
you never find out.
Yeah, but yeah, what do you think of Scripps, Mr. Scripps?
He's a great young man. That's all I'll say.
Do you think he'll be successful in his mission to destroy NXT?
He's a great young talent, and he's a great young man who will maybe achieve his dreams if he just keeps trying.
And I think that's everything. There's one more thing I want to talk about because it's been reported this week. We have 3 new talents that may get signed to WWE. And it looks like it's going to, not to just WWE, but they could go other places. But it's Jay White, Tama Tonga, and Hikuleo. Now Tama Tonga was there before, right? He was Camacho. Am I correct on that, or was that somebody?
No, that's their brother.
Okay.
Camacho is Tongaloa.
And that's the guy. So, and he's hurt right now, correct?
I don't know. I haven't seen him in a long time.
Because Tama Tonga was wrestling singles for a while, I think, because he's been hurt. So
yeah, and Hikuleo's kind of been like if they done tag matches, Hikuleo's been his tag partner.
Yeah. This is interesting because also you posted in the chat they're setting up a loser leaves New Japan match between Jay White and Hikuleo. And that's obviously interesting because it looks like Jay White's probably going to lose that match, considering the fact that, obviously Hikuleo could obviously win that because.
But there's interest in Hikuleo from WWE, so I don't know if it's like as soon because Jay White still got some time left a little bit of time left in his contract, I think, and he's booked for shows after the Royal Rumble.
But
I don't know. I just don't know if they're going to go with it.
That as we're seeing though, they could still sign Jay White. We've just seen that recently with Carl Anderson. They could still sign him. So
yeah, but Carl Anderson was on a verbal agreement.
Oh, there you go.
He was on a verbal agreement. He wasn't. Jay White still has an actual under a 7-year contract that he signed in like 2019, 18, something like that.
Be 15 if it's 7 years. So
I think whatever he signed it.
Yeah.
It was a 7-year deal.
Jay White, that would be interesting if Jay White signed. He could go to either or. He could go to AEW because he's really good friends with the Elite, Adam Cole, even though he's not really on right now. But he's been in AEW before. He knows like most of the talent there and stuff like that. But WWE is open because as we've seen, he's good friends with the Good Brothers. And there's a lot of things they could do. They could do a storyline if he shows up again, like before AJ comes back. They could do a storyline where the Good Brothers turn on AJ and join up with Jay White. That would be interesting.
It'd be very mean,
but interesting. As for Tama Tonga, obviously there'd be stuff they could do with them. He could possibly do stuff with the Bloodline, whether join the Bloodline or have matches with the Bloodline. Same thing with Hikuleo because he's related to the Bloodline somehow, right?
No, they're not related to them. That's Haku's kids.
Okay, but Hikuleo could be a good fit for WWE because I think he'd go to WWE. I know they'd be probably interested to go to AEW, but considering the fact that we've seen some big guys like Lance Archer and Brian Cage go there, normally have much success. I think your best bet is for him to probably go to WWE.
Oh, easy, yeah, definitely.
But we'll see. I'm interested if any of these 3 talents show up. It'd be interesting because New Japan because Tama Tonga just freaking won the Never Open about New Japan, and it'd be funny if he'd signed as the Never Open champ again. Like the New Japan made that mistake again. That'd be funny. They made that mistake with Kyle Anderson where he won the belt and then they kind of had to put it on ice basically while he did his WWE things. So, but there's other big news. Dragon Lee just signed with NXT recently. And it was actually a shock because everyone probably would have thought he would have gone to AEW since Roosh's brother is with AEW. But I actually think he made the best decision. And, he could do the ROH thing in AEW and stuff. But I think he made a better decision going to WWE. I just don't really think AEW would have had like a role for him. And I think there's a lot of stuff he can do with WWE. Like, obviously, since he's going to NXT, he could challenge for like the North American title. He could be like a top tier challenger for the NXT title. So I'm interested to see what he does. What do you think about Dragon Lee going to WWE and signing and stuff?
It's fantastic. It's a great signing. He's starting next month in NXT. Yeah. It's a great signing again. They're looking again. It's the key word. They're looking for the next Rey Mysterio. They've been looking for that. They thought they had it with Sin Cara, but I think they can do it Dragon Lee now.
Yeah.
Like this is Dragon Lee is going to be big time very soon. He's not going to be in NXT for very long from what I read. Probably through the end of this year, through the end of 2023 and the start of 2024 he'll be up on the main roster. But yeah, like I'm excited to see what he can do.
And I think he will
signing. That was a very big signing.
Yeah. I think he will be like Dragon Lee. Like they won't change his name or anything like that. But
I think he's going to be Dragon Lee. And the funny thing is too with Dragon Lee is his brother Roosh is in AEW. And what's Roosh doing right now? Nothing.
So there you go.
Right, fighting for nothing.
And then another one that could end up, because now it's looking more likely, I want to talk about it, is I think we're getting the return of the Revival this year because they just lost all their belts recently. Like, it wasn't just like it built to it. Like, they lost them quick. Like, they lost ROH first, and then they lost AAA, and then they just recently lost the IWGP. So I think there's a reason for that. I don't think you could say, well, maybe they're going to do more AEW shows now, but I think they're going to be in WWE by the end of maybe middle end of the year type thing. I think that's why that's happening. So, what I'm interested in because I think they're not getting enough TV time in AEW, but I also think they're making a mistake a little bit with FTR by having like Dax Howard wrestle singles because the thing that FTR always wanted as a team was not one to be overlooked as better than the other. I feel like AEW is kind of starting to do that a little bit because we don't really see Cash Wheeler have any matches singles. So I actually think they want to I think they want to go to WWE and just have tag. Like I don't think they want to do
singles matches. No, it's just tag matches, not singles matches. Yeah.
And
not a singles match.
Yeah, but I think it's happening. I think FTR / the Revival are coming back to WWE, especially with what just happened. Like, there's no other reason that I can think of that they would have just lost all their belts. Not like this quickly too. It wasn't just like, oh, they lost one belt this time. Like, it wasn't even a build to it, really. They just lost. They just randomly dropped all their titles. Like there's obviously a reason for that. So what do you think?
Yeah. By the end of the year, 100%.
And
back to WWE.
They have ready-made storylines. The tag division too is being treated really well in WWE too, and they're also Triple H projects. Recently, I just watched the show today on like the November 5th show. Like they tried to throw shade at like WWE when they say they got together and were successful in spite of the fact that WWE didn't like tag team wrestling, which was true. But it's like, wait a minute here. They were successful though because Triple H and NXT cared about tag team wrestling. So it's like, what do you think? They wouldn't like if they hadn't had that success at NXT, they wouldn't have even made it to the main roster. Like, as you've seen recently, that's the thing we talked about. The biggest change, Triple H like cares about tag team wrestling. We look at all the teams and all the great tag matches we've seen in WWE since Triple H has taken over creative and everything like that. So, I think the Revival are going to be back in WWE. So
yeah, they 100% are.
I think that's everything I wanted to talk about. Anything else you want to bring up?
No, that's
about everything that's gone down with wrestling the past month or so. So, thank you guys for watching. Forgot to text you on the main event. I knew I was going to do that too. But, so we may have to like. I'm just gonna like doing our plugs or whatever. But I'll make the announcement. So we're gonna make this a weekly show. It was actually pretty close to not being a weekly show because of the worries I had about Vince coming back. Yeah, so I'm excited about it. We'll be doing show reviews for all the WWE content and talk about the new stuff that comes out. I'm not sure how I'm going to structure the show yet. I think the first week we'll just kind of play it out and see how it goes. But I'm excited about it. You're all excited about it because you love talking to some WWE. You always have. So
I love it.
So
because I'm a WWE mark.
Yeah, so you're probably gonna try to be on like every single episode until like you die
because it's WWE.
Yeah,
it's the greatest, the grandest, the best in wrestling today.
But every week we'll be reviewing all
two shows that pull over 1 million views.
But yeah, you're gonna be like
the company doesn't AEW. That's right. They get 900,000 views.
They couldn't even beat the Raw clip show a few weeks ago.
That was that was the funniest thing ever. A Raw highlight show pulled about 1.3 million. What did Dynamite do? Like 920,000. Or it was like, yeah, and then this past week, what did Dynamite do? 800 and like fucking 47,000 or something like that. It was in the 800,000s, high 800,000s. That's pathetic. Remember that show used to pull 1 million views? It's been like half a year now since they've done that.
Yeah, and I think SmackDown just did like 2 million.
SmackDown's consistently in the 2s.
Yeah,
they go about as high as 2.5 million. Raw topped out the one. I think it was like the first Triple H Raw or the second Triple H Raw. It got like fucking 2.2 million views.
And had Triple H had there been no NFL, it probably would have stayed that way too.
Yeah, it was right around the time the NFL was starting to go back into full swing again, which it's over. Monday Night Football's over, so
I was like selfishly, I wish NFL would have just like taken time off so we could have really seen how the ratings would have been like with Triple H in charge. Like, I know you like football, guys. So you're not gonna say that, but
I need more football.
Or at least like Triple H could have taken over like before NFL came back or something, like a little earlier.
Yeah. Because right when he took over, it was still training camp in the beginning of the preseason.
Yeah.
So there was no like, I mean, people are still gonna watch preseason football because people love the NFL and they'll watch it anyway. Like I will. I'll watch preseason football, but like, it's not like he kind of came in at a good time.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, NFL really hasn't started yet. The competition doesn't start for another month. Let's see. Or it was like 2 or 3 weeks at that point.
Well, I think we should say this. We saw proof that everything that Vince said about about the NFL and stuff. I mean, I'm not saying he didn't view it, but everything that he said was basically bullshit because Triple H just proved otherwise. That like, you know, he still did pretty well in the ratings going up against NFL. Like, that just proof right there that everything that Vince said about trying to run wrestling against the NFL now is fucking bullshit. Like,
if you put a good product out there, people will watch regardless.
Yeah, and that just proved, and Triple H just proved it right there. Like, with
the Vince run product, people weren't interested. It's hard to get viewership in once people would rather watch the NFL than watch WWE because WWE's product was just so bad.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
I do wonder
it didn't make any sense.
Yeah. I do wonder what
storylines that made any remote sense were SmackDown. And guess what? They're going up against zero competition on Friday night.
Yeah. So, it will be interesting to see, what the ratings will be like now that everyone knows Vince is head of board of directors. You know what I mean? Because some people are gonna be like, "Oh, he's gonna take like they're probably gonna think like Vince is running Raw tonight because they're that worried about it." You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
plus,
but he
they'll be like, I know, but there'll be like one bad segment tonight. They're gonna think it's Vince. Like that's gonna be hilarious. There'll be like a segment where like Baron Corbin like wins money or something. They're gonna think, "Oh, that's Vince. That's Vince right there." Like that's gonna be funny.
Stupid. It's like they don't get it.
Yeah,
they don't get it. He literally, it's literally illegal for him to even be remotely in charge of WWE.
I mean, we're gonna have that because we already had that last week when everyone thought that Seth Rollins was missing Royal Rumble because he was trying to sell his knee injury and stuff.
Someone on PWI Insiders came out and said that it's a part of the storyline, the injury, so people can now shut the fuck up and stop thinking Seth's hurt because he's not.
I know. I knew he wasn't hurt. I like how we're the smart ones here because right when I saw I'm like, I think they said because the match ended abruptly, but it was also like it was like 10. I think it was like 10:57 when that match ended. Anyway, so like you could say the match ended abruptly, but it wasn't like the match. I don't even know. Like it was just so stupid.
It ended abruptly because they don't like to do overage time as much as they used to.
Yeah, it's like
I mean they have until 11:15, but they don't like to do that.
We can do our plugs now. So that was a good thing. Hey, we kept the thing going for a bit. We didn't just sit around but anything you want to plug or promote?
Everything that you need to know about me is in that fucking description. So smack it.
You'll be on every week for this at least, I think. So
yeah,
you're gonna have to stop watching Main Event and NXT Level Up. That's awesome. That's great. I'm so happy about that. So,
but reviews are for online.
Nah, you gotta watch every. How about this? At least watch the first week.
I'll think about it.
I think that's more than fair.
I'll give it a thought.
At least as a thought. At least you're giving it a thought, not just like being like, nah. But anyhow, as for my channel, this is gonna be the first video that you're gonna see from me on this channel all year. But we have some stuff coming up. Royal Rumble's coming up, so we're gonna do some retro themed Royal Rumble reviews, which would be fun. We have some planned. We're gonna do 2000, 2006, 2008. 2011, if Steve Coakley can be available. Your pick, 1998, and I think we're gonna try to do 2009. So those are gonna be all fun Royal Rumble retros to do. And then we're gonna be doing this show. Noah Foster is gonna be hosting AEW Spark and doing that on this channel, so that would be fun. And this year, at some point, it's either going to be February 4th or February 13th will be the return of the Wrestling Rundown. We're going to make that monthly show. If you're wondering why we're skipping this month, it's because I want to do it after the Royal Rumble, and the Royal Rumble is the 28th. So we really, unless we did it like the 30th or the 31st, but that just isn't going to work into our schedules. So I figured the 4th. And why I'm saying this might not be the 4th too, because that's the same day as NXT Vengeance Day, and I want to make sure we get some NXT talk in there. But basically, we'll be talking about what's going on in wrestling as a bubble, so it wouldn't just be WWE and AEW. We would throw in other wrestling promotions in there as well. And I think that's everything. I'm hoping to bring back a fantasy booking series in February. And I think that's everything. Maybe I'll do a video where I super kick Chris, so that would be fun.
Fuck, it's never gonna happen. That's right.
Maybe I'll do a video where he spears me into a pool or something. Like probably that's probably not gonna happen either. He wouldn't even waste his time doing that. He'd just leave.
Yeah,
but then leave his own house. Leave me there, just stranded. But anyhow, that's pretty much it, guys. And we will talk to you guys later. And I'm pretty sure since we're recording this in the past, we will talk to you guys in the future. But you never know. It could get out.
Podcast has concluded. Be sure to check out more group discussion as far as WWE content is concerned, and check out more content from For the Win Productions.